Up in the top center, currently up 2-0. It is indeed going to be Life, and there's never really been a phase in this series so far where I felt like Life was going to be way behind or unrecoverable or really kind of on the back foot. So he's going to be your current winner up in the top center, down 2 games and facing elimination here with one last game right now. It is going to be Kaz, and I was checking out on Twitter. A lot of people here are actually rooting for Kaz, but they're definitely saying too, man, he's going to have to change it up. But any thoughts on TVZ for our new map here?
This map, again, Kaz can play very similar to how he played on Daybreak. Just open up, one barracks command center, interact to Hellion, looking for a fast third, double engineering bay, just completely standard. If he just, I think that one of the biggest mistakes, he wasn't keen enough, he wasn't aggressive enough with that push, and then he had no really defense set up at home. Where was the rest of the units there? And if those things were sorted in the previous game, Kaz could have looked a lot better and the game would have continued. But these small things, like a good player like Life, is all over them.
And so far, the pace of the series that we've seen so far is indeed, as you just mentioned, Apollo. He is going to be doing a little bit of aggressive poking around with the Hellions. Could potentially go for the early third. It can be very tempting because on this map, instead of opening up another attack route to the third base, you can open up a way to defend that third base, as there is destructible rocks there between the natural and the third. So it can be relatively tempting to take that for either player because Terran players tend to wall in at the natural. There are destructible rocks there as well, which can actually help you wall in a little bit better, and that does make defending that location easier. But from what we've seen so far, I'm going to be predicting that Life is just going to be playing it pretty standard here. You can see the hatchery first going down, showing us that yes, he is indeed going to be playing it about as standard as you can, TVZ, and it's really going to be what exactly does Kaz do here moving forward, and I think that's kind of going to be how this game is decided, where Life is just going to be reacting and Kaz is going to be trying to dictate the pace of the game.
And that's what Kaz needs to do. If he can just, I really do believe in the previous game he looked like he could have beaten Life if he'd maintained that high level which he showed in the early to mid stages. He held that attack really well. But Life here has so many options available now. He can go for different types of timing busts, Ro16 attacks, upgrade focused attacks, because he has 2 games cushion against Kaz. This map, even in the stats, shows this year is heavily favored towards Zerg, like on a 69 to 31 or something along those lines percent rate. So, he even has the map in his favor, and Kaz is on the treadmill, and it is so elevated. It's going to be very difficult for him to actually maintain a high speed against a player like Life.
Might actually end up losing this Overlord here. We don't see a second Marine done quite yet, but he is almost on the way. That would be a nice little pick here because usually that Overlord wants to scout at around the 6 to 8 minute mark, and the Overlord's trying to get out of there. The SCV is going to be spotting for the Marine, and that is definitely not going to happen there. 4 HP remains, but that Marine gets all the credit for killing it off with that one shot right as he spawns. But either way, he is going to be able to clean out that early map vision here, which means that I don't know if it even... I can't remember if it spotted the expansion. No, it didn't technically spot the expansion, so he doesn't know for sure as exactly what's going on here. So, I mean, if nothing else, that's going to be an okay start for him.
That's a really good start. It's a really good confidence boost too, knowing that your opponent can still make mistakes. But right now, as soon as that happened, Life actually threw down double gas in his main, and he's going to go into with all 3 drones in each, so 6 drones in total. But what is he going to do with that gas? Because that's incredibly early to take double gas like this. Whether he'll go straight for speed, whether he'll build a handful of roaches alone here, or he'll go fast layer. There's a lot of options available, and Life is such an unpredictable opponent. It's actually very hard to know. But I think he's actually just going to go ahead and say, well, yeah, I am 2-0 ahead. I'm just going to try something in this game.
And it is going to be a very early layer there. Keep in mind that Zergling speed has not been researched yet, so this is going to be one of the earlier layers that you can see for Zerg. Oh, excuse me, you can see for Zerg, but we don't see a third base going to be going down anytime soon. There is one queen there who's been given the task of destroying these rocks 1 damage at a time, so that's going to take quite a while there. But I definitely like this out of our Zerg player here, going to be spicing it up just a little bit, trying to throw Kaz off his game, because even if he does something fancy and it doesn't work out, he knows, hey, so far I've been able to beat him 2-0 with my straight up play. So it's definitely a good way to play out a series. Might not be a build that you'd see on ladder, but definitely in a tournament. Being able to spice it up a lot does help out. The Lings, though, do get more scouting intelligence than they ever should have.
Oh, man. All right, so these Lings that just went in there, Life had already predicted what Cass was going to do. This build he's using is fast 2-base muter. It's very, very good against Reactor Hellion and Banshee builds. So now what he's actually doing is gone in with those lings and said, oh great, he's gone for the build that I'm predicting him to go for. Excellent. And now the Spire comes down. So right now all he's doing is saying, well, if the Hellions come early, I'll use Lings and Queens to hold them off. But by the time that the Banshee comes across with Cloak, is I'll have an Overseer, I'll have Mutalist, I'll shut everything down, and then even launch a counter attack because there'll be no turrets, there'll be no stable combat shields. But right now, can he defend against the Hellions before all this is ready?
It's going to be vital. The drones are clumped up quite a bit here, although the Hellions get cleaned up almost immediately. And we'll take a look at the damage as soon as that last Hellion falls. Only 4 workers killed right there, which I feel like that is definitely not enough for the amount of Hellions he invested. He is sending up 2 more Hellions right now. He wants to scout out that third base, see if it is indeed there, but I think he's got a pretty good read on exactly what's going on here as the Spire is finishing up right, not just yet. It is about a 4th uncompleted here, and the Banshee going to be moving out across the center of the map. The Cloak is going to be done, and I don't think we see an Overseer just yet. No, we do not, and the only anti-air is 3 Queens, so if he's going to do damage, he needs to try and do it quick, but there's that Overseer.
Here's the Overseer being moved in. Things are looking really, really good. Cass throws down the engineering base. There's a Ling run by as well, and Cass has no units here. He has Hellions and Banshees across the map. He lost his initial Hellions, and these Lings do a lot of damage, and Cass falling apart once again here. And I don't even know how many SCVs killed went down. That was a lot, I think, and we're looking at a total of 12 there. That's really, really bad for Cass, and even his, like I said, his build shut down as well. 10 mutas are coming out. There's no stim, there's no combat shields, there's no turrets, there's no attack upgrades. He could simply just die to these Mutalists here.
Yeah, and I was watching those SCVs. There was 3 or 4 of them that weren't even working during that, and I think there's even a trapped SCV between that engineering bay and the command center. So I mean, everything that could be going wrong just seems to be. The Mutalists are going to be ignoring the Hellion and the Cloak Banshee through the center, because right now, I mean, Life knows if I attack right now, what's his defense going to look like? There's currently no turrets. There's no anti-air to speak of. I think it's, what, a total of 4 Marines now. They are all going to get taken out. Down goes the Banshee as well, and there's the GG. Quickly taps out for game number 3, and